Welcome back to the morning show, everybody. It's AM 1700, WRCR Havershaw, WRCR.com at 8:45. Joining us now, it's Rick Tannenbaum. He is the head of Hi Tor Animal Shelter, here to give us an update on what's going on with the shelter. Good morning, Rick. How are you?
Good morning. Good morning, Rockland County. I'm good. Thank you. So, I came prepared today to talk about, some of the things that we're doing there, our adoption rates, how many cats we're adopting, how many dogs we're adopting, returns to owners and stuff like that. I have been asked to remind people that every town has a dog license law. We frequently get dogs brought in by individuals, by animal control officers, by the sheriff, by the police, and some of the dogs are chipped, and we're able to figure out the owners. Not very many, to be honest, but some. Others, end up in the shelter. But when an owner does come in, we cannot release the dog back to them unless they have a rabies vaccine and a license from the town. A lot of people don't understand that. They come and to reclaim their dog, and we're unable to release it. So it's not our policy. It's the law of the towns. It's the law of the state. Basically, if you come to reclaim your dog, we'll arrange for the rabies on our end, but the licensing is the owner's burden. And every day that it takes to process this stuff is a day that the dog is away from you and at the shelter. So keep in mind, if you have a dog, license it, get a rabies shot, and if it does get loose or lost, you could claim it right away. But what I really wanted to talk about was every day, probably 3 or 4 times a day, I get phone calls at the shelter, and the questions that people ask, they're sometimes about the animals, about our policies, but we are overwhelmed with questions about our relationship with Rockland Green, our existence at the shelter, how much time we have, what the terms are, who we work for, who pays us, what's going to happen to us at the end of our term. And I wanted to try and answer some of those questions. I made some notes. I wrote some stuff down for what people are asking. So, one of the questions that, there's like a general question that people ask. They say, what is your relationship with Rockland Green? I mean, what is Hi Tor, and, how do we exist right now? And, for many, many years, the towns who are primarily responsible for animal management had contracted with the county through an intermunicipal agreement, and the county would fund part of our operations at Hi Tor, and we used to get about $340,000 a year through the county, through the towns. And and the truth was, it was pennies of the budget for each of those towns. It was some towns paid less than a couple of cents on the dollar for as parts of their budget. And the deal worked out for many, many years. There are many times we were financially strained, but we always managed, the animals always managed, and everything was fine until about a year ago, actually a little bit more than a year ago, when the towns decided that they did not want to continue the intermunicipal agreement with the county, and they wanted to run animal management themselves. So, with 5 towns, it was a difficult thing for them to do, I suppose. So they came up with an idea to contract with Rockland Green. So they have an intermunicipal agreement with Rockland Green, and Rockland Green would provide animal services for the county. So to facilitate that, there was a change in state law, both in the Rockland Green Charter and in the Ag Markets Law, and that went through late last year. And effective January 1st, when our county contracts expired, Rockland Green took over animal management. Rockland Green leased the premises that we are on at Hi Tor from the county for $1 a year for a period of time, and we became the service provider for Rockland Green for animal management in the county. So that's how we came to be. That's how Rockland Green came to be, and that's how the county was stepped away or was, taken out of the picture on animal management. They still own the property that we sit on, and they lease it to Rockland Green. So we have a 2-year contract, which has, provisions for extensions in the event that Rockland Green's warehouse shelter up on Beach Road isn't finished in time. And, and we're there, no matter how long it takes, no matter what happens, we're going to be there for animal management as long as our contract exists and as long as, we could reach terms with Rockland Green. So, Rockland Green right now is leasing the warehouse shelter for a year. They're supposed to close in January 2024. which gives them about a year to build a shelter. And then at the end of, at the end of the year, we would, we would either have to have extensions to continue if the building wasn't done, or we would, they would take over and start operations. So, one of the things that people ask me all the time is how do they voice their feelings about this? How do they talk to Rockland Green? How do they talk to us? We're pretty much open and available all the time. I'm open and available all the time. Rockland Green does have a public meeting once a month on, I think it's the last Thursday of the month at 5 o'clock. They meet at Clarkstown Town Hall, and they are open to the public, and they answer questions. And, people always say to me, well, why do they meet at 5 o'clock on, during a commuter hour in the middle of the week? I have no idea. That's up to Rockland Green. But they are available for that hour once a month to answer questions. So other questions that people ask me is, they'll say, well, you have a lot of animals in foster care. What's going to happen to those animals when Rockland Green takes over? So foster care for us is, we have a capacity at the shelter, and when we reach our capacity, we reach out to the community and we say, hey, can some of our animals live with you in your home? Because we either have no room for them, or they might have some special medical needs, or they might need some socialization to make them more adoptable. And we have probably, upwards of, 50 animals in people's homes. And, we provide the vet care, we provide the food, we provide, whatever maintenance they need. And, many of these fosters have called and said, well, what's going to happen? I mean, is Rockland Green going to continue the policy of maintaining the vet? Are they going to provide us with food? Are we going to have to bring the animals back to the shelter? Are they going to have to bring the animals back to the new shelter? And I have no idea. It's not part of the plan that we talk about. It's not part of the plan that we're aware of. And it's one of the many things that's kind of left undecided, during this time that, we're in flux. The other thing that people ask, and I get this call every day, is, what about the community cat community that lives on the property over at Hi Tor? We have a group of about 45 feral, semi-feral, unsocialized outdoor cats that live at our property. We care for them, we spay neuter them, we feed them, we see to their needs, and they basically, live on our property. They're not generally adoptable, except to maybe a barn or a stable, or somewhere where maybe somebody needs a mouser, or is able to take outdoor cats. But these cats are not. You can't put them in cages. You can't hold them. You can't do much with them. They're feral or semi-feral. So at the end of our tenure, is Rockland Green going to trap and move these cats to their new facility? Are we going to be locked out of the existing facility? And who's going to take care of these cats? Are they going to be abandoned to their own devices? Is there a group standing by somewhere who's going to come in and trap all these cats and relocate them and feed them? Is anybody going to be allowed access to the property going forward to take care of these cats? Are they just going to be on their own? More unanswered questions. And these are things that kind of keep me up at night, kind of keep me worried all the time, basically not really knowing what the future holds. So, when we meet and we talk about what's going to happen to Hi Tor post Rockland Green, we have a couple of different goals. One is we would love to continue at our existing facility to take over for whatever terms the county is willing to let us take over, to stay there. Hopefully it would just be the same $1 a year that Rockland Green pays. And we would go back to donations and grants and funding on our own, and maintain the good work that we're doing with the people that we have. And we would fend for ourselves, raise our own finances, and continue to exist. If that's not an option for the county to allow us to do that, then our other plan is to basically find a new location in the county, somewhere centrally located, not on the outskirts of, or the edges of the county, but somewhere similar to where we are now, which is the center of the county, so we'll be accessible to everybody, and to build our own shelter. So people who have donated money know that we have a dedicated fund account It's not enormous, but it's substantial, and we have the wherewithal to leverage that money through the Rockland Economic Assistance Corporation into much more money and build our own shelter. It's not really our first choice. It's just one of several choices. Ideally, we'd love the opportunity to stay on in Pomona and be able to, not have to scurry and make plans on short notice, or just have the uncertainty that exists, not knowing what happens in the future. So we have about 200 animals probably, at any given time, either at the shelter or at the shelter and in foster care. And then the other question that people ask is, what are you going to do with them at the end of your term? Are you going to transfer them all to Rockland Green? Are they going to take them all? Are you expected to keep them yourselves? I mean, what about all the animals that are off site? How does this transition look? And the answer again is, I don't know. It's not like there's any actual firm plan. It's not like we actually expect Rockland Green to build a completely built out shelter in the 1 year that they have to do it. So we don't really know how to plan or how to manage it. And it's the questions that come in every single day are of this nature. And it's really, the shelter is not in a vacuum. I mean, we're part of the community, and people, when they think of the shelter, they think, oh, that's, somebody else's animal is going to end up there. My animal's never going to get out. I'm never going to let my animal get out. But you never know who's going to end up at the shelter. I mean, people get sick, people die, they get evicted, their buildings get condemned, their landlords change their mind about pet policies. The shelter is a community asset that basically, everybody needs to be concerned about. Everybody needs to participate in its future, and everybody needs to participate in its health, because it's an essential element of the county. And we provide a valuable service, and we want to continue to provide that service. So I'm happy to, if you have more questions, call me at the shelter, 845-354-7900. I'm happy to answer any question that I can. I don't have all the answers, which I guess is obvious from this segment, but I am trying to get them. And if there are things that people want to know about, anything specific about the terms of our contract, our plans for the future, our financing, what I could answer about the new shelter plans, which is not that much, I'm happy to do that. So on that note, I wanted to also just talk about, we have a couple of events coming up. So we have Rockland Pride is going to be out at the shelter for a cat adoption event and somewhat of a party, I guess, event, May 21st from 1 to 4 p.m. And that is at the shelter itself. And we're excited about that. We have an adoption event at the Nyack Library coming up. We're arranging one at Sloatsburg Library. We have something, I think, scheduled with the JCC coming up in September. I mean, we'll post them all on our Facebook page, and we'll post them all on our website and let people know. We've had great success in adoptions. We've been averaging about 50 adoptions a month through January, February, and March. And, we're hoping to continue that. Kittens are arriving. We have been inundated with kittens as the weather gets warm. This is what we call kitten season. And every single one of our kittens has been pre-spoken for and pre-adopted, but they keep coming in, and we need more and more people who will step up and take these animals. So they are as cute as could be. And if you want to come see our kittens, please come over.
And if they have any questions, or if they want to know the best hours to get to you, how do they contact you?
So best is call the shelter, 845-354-7900. We're open Tuesday through Sunday, 11 to 4, except Tuesdays we're open till 7 p.m. The shelter's closed to the public on Monday, but we're always there, and call anytime. And if you can't reach me, just leave me a message and I'll call you back.
All right, Rick Tannenbaum, Executive Director of Hi Tor Animal Shelter in Pomona. Thank you very much for joining us as always.
Thank you for having me again.
It's AM 1700, WRCR Haverstraw, WRCR.com. Your world and national news is up next.